January the 4th, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Glad to have you all with us tonight. Not sure what's going on in the background noise here tonight. Everybody here with us tonight? Let's get rocking and rolling. So, back with us tonight, we've got two of our favorite authors in the whole world. So I guarantee you this is going to be one messed up show. What are we here for? We're here to play Conflicted survival card game. We're going to throw out some scenarios amongst to the group and see how each of us would try and dig our way out of certain situations. So why don't we get rolling, because usually we suck up the entire hour that we're on here. Our authors that we have with us tonight. Chris, you're back with us tonight. I heard you on here. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know what you're about?
Well, my books are about surviving in the apocalypse, rebuilding civilization, and kind of starting from the ground up. You can find me at aeseries.com and on Amazon, everywhere else.
Awesome, thank you. Dropping everything in the chat room there.
Yep.
And our second author for tonight is G. Michael Hopf. G. Michael, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know where you're here?
Hi, Lori. Thanks for having me on again. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, yep. Good. Yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm the best-selling author of The End and The Long Road, which are post-apocalyptic novels that all fall into the New World series. The premise of it deals with several point of view characters that are surviving in a post-super EMP world. Awesome. Everyone can find more information about EMPs and about the books at www.gmichaelhopf.com, as well as the books can be found anywhere at any brick and mortar or online retailers.
Yeah, I understand you just recently signed with Penguin.
Yeah, I signed a 4-book deal with Penguin back in September.
Awesome, and excellent.
Nice.
If you guys get a chance, get out there and pick up all their books, Chris's and G. Michael's, because it will give you hours of entertainment. That includes trying to hit your husband across the room with them, too. Because they're sick and twisted sometimes.
Oh, there you go.
Back with us tonight is Alika. Alika, are you with us? Alika?
I am.
Awesome. Why don't you introduce yourself and where you're from?
My name is Alika, and I'm with the Prepper Forum, www.shtfready.com. We're a prepping survivalist website that we help share and learn from each other, and we keep the focus of prepping and survival skills in focus, and we keep the politics out.
Isn't there something about an ant?
Oh, yeah.
Dang it, I cut out.
Do the ant thing.
I'm having some technical issues on my end. Oh,
you're in New York, so you're in the middle of a storm,
bro.
We've all heard of the ant and the grasshopper story. Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. And the creator, our infamous leader here, JD, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome back.
It's great to be back. Thank you so much.
So tell us about this card game that you created.
This game is called Conflicted, and it is called Conflicted because you get to think about different scenarios that put your will to live versus your morals. It's a bunch of decisions that we hopefully never have to make. But if you take away your infrastructure, there may come a time when you need to choose between living another day and upholding your moral standards. So the scenarios in Conflicted puts everybody into this box just to see how you can deal with it now. And it's a game that you can use to talk to your friends and family so that if you're ever in a tough situation together, you kind of know how everybody thinks. And logic and reason will take over and not your emotional when things are happening. Ideally, right? But who knows what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So today we are featuring some questions, some scenarios of the new deck that's coming out on the 7th. You'll be able to pre-order. We have a deck out already, and we have a new one coming out on the 7th. And what I like about this deck is that we have people submitting scenarios from the community. We have everybody from Chris, Alika, Laurie, Southern Pepper One, to Anonymous, and just people who are just fans of the game. They're preppers, but they're not famous. They don't have a website or anything. We took hundreds of submissions and we selected the 20 best ones and we put it here. So today I want to start off with one of these scenarios that was submitted by somebody. And this one is pretty intense. And I want to know what how you guys would handle this situation.
I love when he uses that word.
Yeah. Who needs to die?
No, this one's pretty disturbing. Here we go.
Oh, okay, good.
It says, your group was attacked and several members are missing. 2 days later, your group finds a teenage boy sneaking around your camp at night. You capture him, but he's claiming he had nothing to do with the previous attack and he's just looking for food. Some of your group believe that he may be a scout from a rival group and that he may know sensitive information about your missing team members. Would you release this kid after questioning? Because he said he had nothing to do with it. If not, how far are you willing to go to extract information from this potentially innocent person? So you're attacked. You took a huge loss. People are missing. 2 days later, you catch somebody sneaking around your camp. It's a young kid. And after the first round of questions, he's like, I had nothing to do with the previous attack. How would you go further into this? And this was submitted by the Preppy Pinterest Prepper. Say that fast 3 times.
Preppy Pinterest Prepper?
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh, wow.
So, Chris, if you were the leader of the camp and you're in a situation, how would you handle it?
So basically, you're saying, would I torture the kid is what you're saying?
I think
in a roundabout way?
Yeah, waterboarding came to mind.
Chinese water torture kind of thing. Well, I mean, so the deal is we've been attacked and we think this kid has got something to do with it. So we've got to extract the information from him.
The first round, he said, I have nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay. So we went easy on him, and now he says, okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's one of those things. My default answer on that is probably going to be obviously whatever it takes. I mean, if he says he's got nothing to do with it, but you've got suspicion of it, I mean, obviously if he's run around on his own, sneaking around, he's probably up to no good, regardless of whether he was, involved in that first attack or not. So yeah, I mean, I'd definitely get creative and figure out, what he knows. If it turns out, I mean, I'm not gonna murder the guy or something, but, turns out he finds anything to do with it, I would dig into it. And if not, I mean, eventually I think I'd cut him loose and kick him to the curb and take him far away. But,
well, that's what everybody will do, but how do you go about that?
You're saying be specific about it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because you want to be careful because this guy is saying he has nothing to do with it. It wasn't him. He's just a kid looking for food. But there are some suspicious people in your group. What will be the next level to get this guy to talk? But at the same time, there may be a chance that he's innocent.
Well, that's what I mean. Obviously, that's the thing is you don't, I mean, if he is innocent, obviously I'm not gonna sit here and torture the kid, but, rough him up a little bit, I don't know, rough him up a little bit and.
Chris is not gonna torture someone?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you said, he quote may be innocent, and he's just a kid looking for food. So if that's the case, yeah, I'm probably not going to hook him up to a car battery. But I mean, rough him up and put the fear of God into him, kind of thing. And then if he doesn't crack, well, then you kick him to the curb and get rid of him. I think.
Okay,
He
Laurie.
rip his fingernails out or anything like that.
Laurie, how would you go about it if you were in a situation? Airplane going around?
Everybody get down. There's a plane going overhead.
Seriously.
What the heck?
It's the NSA satellite plane scooping up everybody.
Oh, wow.
Just fired a tomahawk at him or something?
I'm assuming that's one of the guys in the warm areas of the United States, because it'd be like hell to be outside right now here in Indy.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably in Arizona.
Wasn't me.
It's one of those West Coast guys.
I live in the middle of nowhere. There's no planes flying over me.
All right, let's get back to the scenario because you guys are trying to talk yourselves out of it. I want to know exactly how you'd go about extracting information out of somebody who may be potentially innocent.
Okay. Lori, you do.
Laurie, you're up.
Who?
Lori.
Lori's up.
Laurie.
I apologize. Yeah. I'm not sure where all this background noise is coming from. First of all, who in my party is missing? Are we talking about somebody that's been talking about leaving? So could they have just left?
No, you're attacked and people got kidnapped. They were taken from your camp. You're attacked. 2 days later, this kid is walking around your camp.
I wouldn't let him go ever, probably, because...
And you don't know if he had something to do with the attack or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd ever let him go. Just because, he could potentially bring people back to the camp. But, he would become definitely a working part of our group, I can tell you that. Plus, depends. If he's cute, my daughter might want him to stay. So.
He's cute.
You're saying you're
never
not going to
heard cuteness being...
camp?
You've never met my daughter either.
Oh my God, I've never heard cuteness go into the factor.
But, seriously though, you've got somebody snooping around a camp in that kind of a situation. I don't care how old he is. Teenagers, are going to be teenagers. How often do we ever meet a teenager that actually tells the truth all the time? I mean, there are a few out there, don't get me wrong, but, more often than not, if they're after something, they're going to lie their little asses off to get whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're paid to do it to begin with, or they're threatened to do it, or something along that line, I think that, you would start out slow to get information out of him. You might try some just mental manipulation at first. I would also look at sending out scout parties and things like that. His group obviously isn't going to be that far away.
Interesting.
She's
how
all
about
tactical.
You, Jeff? Alika, how would you go about it?
You talking to me or Jeff?
Yeah, to you.
Oh. Same lines as Lori. I do like, Desert Hawk said, get the kid drunk, see if he slips up. That's if I do have spare alcohol in. Somebody drunk will have much looser lips and spill whatever beans they may be hiding. But I would definitely detain him for a couple of days, try to get as much information out as I could. And if he still didn't say anything or whatnot, I would just use the opportunity, kick him loose, and send my recon party out and find out where the heck he's going back to. Cause, just knowing where that camp is could, bring back some serious intel, and we'd be able to fortify that particular trail or side of our compound to defend against the next attack. But outright killing the kid, we got no proof unless we're doing some CSI crap and trying to find GSW on his hands. I don't think it.
Test him for residue.
Yeah, I don't think outright killing the kid would be in anybody's best interest.
That's hilarious.
Oh, absolutely not. And how about you, G. Michael? How would you go about handling the situation?
Well, let me try to get this straight. So he's by himself and he's answered no questions, or he doesn't have a group?
Well, your group got attacked.
Yeah, no, I got that. But when you capture him and he talks the first time, he has nothing to do with it. But is he admitting he's from a group or not? Or is he by himself?
He's by himself. That's all he says.
And
he's a kid.
To it.
And
he's like
a kid?
14, 15.
Got it. I don't think I would just outright torture him right at the moment. I think what I would probably do is I'd keep him tied up. I would torture him, I guess, in the extent that I wouldn't feed him. That in itself will provide information over time. I don't think I kind of agree with Lori. I wouldn't just cut him loose for a long time. I'd hold on to him for a while. Because if he is coming from a group, at the same time, I would also beef up my patrols at the same time. Because if he is from a group, they might come looking for him.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think I would just outright, like, hook him up to a car battery or
pull his fingernails out.
Or, yeah, I don't think I'd pull his fingernails out or hang him by his nipples from a tree or something. I mean, I don't think I'd do anything like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll save that for later.
Yeah.
That's the after dark show.
That's like the chat room conversation going on.
Safety words banana.
Safety words banana. Awesome. Good times.
What I would do, I'll probably go along with you guys. I would just keep him around. If he's somebody who's looking for food and he's alone, he probably wants to join a group. I would keep him around. I wouldn't lock him up. I would just see what he does. And just keep an eye on him. If he is going around the camp like somebody who's snooping around, looking for things, you know that he's a scout. If he is just a kid, just looking for a group to belong to, he's going to be more than willing to pull his own weight, is what I think. So I would just kind of bring him in and see what he does, kind of observe him, and then go from there. That's my take.
Politically correct right there. That's what that was.
Oh yeah, of course. If you bring him in and the kid is just sneaking around places still, trying to go into private people's, basically recon information, then he's a scout. But if he's very content and just sitting around doing whatever he needs to in order to basically carve a place for himself, pull his own weight.
Well, I have a curveball for you. So
okay.
You're bringing this person in that's been snooping around your camp, with the intention of not killing him, so you can gather more information as time goes by and stuff like that, which means you're going to have to feed him. What happens if you're already low on food? Is he worth keeping in your camp and using more food on him to get the information you think he might have?
Well, I already answered that. I wouldn't feed him at all. I'd starve him.
Starve him out.
Well, that's the torture. I wouldn't feed him until he figured it out.
And throw him in a hole,
I would
right?
waste resources on him.
Throw him in a hole and puts the lotion on its skin.
I think that's for the after dark show.
after. Banana.
Hey, pretty soon we're going to be up till like 5 o'clock in the morning. This is the pre-dawn show.
What about everybody's answers? Would your answer change if the kid's attitude was one of being super polite and calling everybody sir and ma'am?
Oh, hell no.
Or calling everybody every racial thing in the book and swearing at everybody?
He walks in, he's like, "Bro, what's up?"
If the kid is if he's respectful and he wants to be a part of it, I wouldn't embrace him like a brother and start sharing all the food, but I would give him something and kind of give him an opportunity to see if he wants to fit in, because you don't need to add him to your group. You just need to see if he is willing to do what it takes in order to join, because supposedly he was sneaking around the camp looking for food, right? So he's hungry. He probably needs a place. If he is just there and he doesn't want anything to do with anybody, he's mad, doesn't look like he's looking for what he said he was in the very beginning. If his attitude doesn't match that, then it's an easy, you hang him over, from the tree by whatever Chris wants to do.
Or like big bullets in the chat room. I've seen a couple westerns like this. You stake his ass down naked, pour some honey on him, and watch the ants and stuff go.
I know. I said, "Whoa, banana."
There we go. So I think we all agree we wouldn't kill him right away. You'd have to scope out the sit. I do like the alcohol thing to get him drunk, and guys like to talk when they're drunk. A lot. I have a husband that talks a lot when he's not drunk, so I can imagine what he's like when he's drunk.
But then you gotta have it sing Kumbaya around the campfire style. If
Whatever.
You want to really spill the beans.
Whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm. Come on, buddy, let's make some s'mores.
Cool.
Let me throw something else in this. Is your group operating off a system or a new set of laws or rules? Is everyone voting on what happens to this kid, or is there a leader that makes that determination?
Whoa, I think you just read the next card that we're going to play.
Are you guys together?
No.
Oh.
But if you think about it, that's a very important question, because people say, hey, let's do this together. And what is best? Is it best to have a leader that makes all the decisions and calls the shots, or is a democracy a better way to run? So another card that's on the next deck goes like this. When forming a survival group, what structure of organization is best? Having one leader with people under that person at various levels, or having an entire group share leadership and responsibilities? Making decisions. Why? So I'll throw that one back at you, Michael. What's best? Is it best to have the entire group making decisions, or is it best to have a leader who knows what's best for the group and calls the shots?
I think that I think the group should vote on a kind of for lack of a better phrase, to have a rule of law, or essentially have a system or rules that everyone abides by. But then I think the group then votes on a leader and has that structure. Otherwise, I think if you have everyone voting all the time, it can become very chaotic. Mm-hmm. And without anyone to look to specifically when there's something happening, then it can turn, really bad and chaotic, and there's no central figure kind of there. And the thing is, though, even I think just in a natural state of society, there's always going to be a natural leader that's always going to rise anyway, and people are going to look to that. I think democracies can be messy because you can have tyranny of the democracy or tyranny of the majority. That's why I think it's important to have a system or a rule of law above just having a democracy.
Well,
understanding natural rights.
Like everybody kind of agrees on an operating manual, how things should go, and then one guy, when the rubber meets the road, he's the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
I
If you
see.
imagine, like in this situation with the kid, you could end up having 20 different people yelling at each other what to do with them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then the group can start to turn on each other. Specifically if there's no system in place.
Yeah. And even if there's a system in place, I think people sometimes feel differently, feel very different about a situation like this, especially on how young the kid is, especially if he's well educated. Some people may say go easy on him. Other people may be like, nah, this guy is BSing. It can be a very stressful moment.
Well, how many people, though, actually talk about this kind of stuff beforehand? We've seen multiple people have prepping groups already set up within their community, but how many of them actually sit down and decide, okay, if something happens, this person we need in charge of this person would take over this, and go down the line? Not very many.
Probably nobody.
Yeah, nobody. Everybody probably just hoards some stuff, goes to the range on the weekend.
Yeah, and they talk about, what they're doing on their preps, but they don't take it that extra step where they need to, and actually form a small government, if you want to call it that, beforehand.
So, Laurie, how would you structure a group? Would you do what Jamichael said, or would you do it differently? How would you approach structuring? How would you elect a leader if you need a leader?
I wasn't. I was paying attention in the chat room when he was talking.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Sorry, they're
nice.
They're passing
awesome.
TVs around in there or something, smoking
Great.
crack. Who knows what they're doing? But they're like seriously getting out of hand in there. But
it's good times, what it is.
All right,
Somebody
I'll
has a banana in a little while.
I'll read it over. It says, when forming a survival group.
No, I know the question. I just didn't hear what you said.
Oh, that's even.
I'm going to go grab a beer, guys. I'll be right back.
Well, I like the fact that, everyone, or let's say every section of preparedness would have a leader over top of that, which would come together and discuss situations, that are arising. But I think when it comes down to it, there, needs to be one figurehead. That way, they make the final decision. I don't think that leader, though, needs to be the executioner. I think those two things need to be separate within a community like that, so that way one doesn't overstep the other. Just like I think if you form a type of judge, which might be the best option for who's in charge, because he would have the last say, you would make that person separate than, say, the sheriff or the police officer or whatever you want to call them. I think that needs to be very separate, so that way they don't intermingle their duties. I think you get very, very biased when you start doing that. But I like the one leader, that isn't, in there for any length of time. Let's say, multiple years. I think it should be a set limit, and then it goes to a vote again. If they're doing a great job, then fine. If not, we need to look at other avenues. But we have to be very careful that they're not bought and paid for, like some figureheads that we have now within our government.
Whoa. Don't go political. I call banana.
Well, I think when, I've seen it on in the chat room here, because, actually, what did you say, Lori? I didn't hear you. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, G. Michael's on tonight. I forgot to introduce you, didn't I?
I think that, we have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and I think that's kind of a good roadmap to start off with again in a post-apocalyptic society.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it takes a lot of the work out for a lot of people. And I would love for our government to get back to that, quite honestly.
Banana.
Well, supposedly the guy in charge right now is an attorney that specializes in constitutional law. Have you
Oh
thought about
God, JD's talking politics now. Banana.
that? Let's move on. Let's move on to you, Chris. How would you organize the group?
Well, I mean, I was thinking, somebody asked, well, what do you do when, there's trying to take over leadership kind of thing, and I said he who murders the most people wins, but, I mean, honestly, I think that's how it would realistically be in, really the, hitting the fan kind of thing. It's not gonna be who gets the most votes and, who has let's do a poll and see who has a higher leadership approval rating. No, it's going to be whoever everybody either loves or everybody's afraid of. I don't think there's going to be let's take a vote and whoever gets more than 50% wins. I think it's either going to be everybody loves this guy and he's the one who's appointed, or everybody's afraid of that guy and he's the guy that, makes the decisions. I don't think there's going to be this, let's, put our hands in the air or whatever kind of thing. I think it'll be, some groups it'll be the guy that, started the group and he's just the self-appointed leader and everybody follows because, they're either afraid of him or they, go with his decisions, or it's going to be a group of, somebody that, comes from military experience or something like that and, just shows his leadership skills and he's so awesome that everybody just follows him by default.
I think the alphas will be made known.
Yeah. It'll be that, super hardcore, Navy SEAL guy that, everybody loves him because he's perfect and he knows everything about everything. Or it'll be that guy that, kills puppies for a living that, everybody's afraid of. So.
Well, but don't you think that, let's say you have a guy with a lot of knowledge about how to run this kind of a camp, maybe a guy with a military background, but nobody can stand the guy.
Nobody likes him.
Or maybe he's an introvert and he's not a natural leader, but he has the knowledge.
Yeah, but you voting him into power, so to speak, isn't going to make him want to be that leader.
No, and it's going to be detrimental to your group, quite honestly.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I mean. Like, I don't think it's going to be this, let's put our, write on a piece of paper and put it in a hat, kind of thing. I think it's going to be, whoever has the natural born ability to lead, or whoever frightens people or makes people fear him or her enough to be the leader. I don't think there's going to be this, let's start a new government, rules, regs, and all this. I think it's going to be, you follow this guy because you're afraid of him, or you follow this guy because he has good policies and good, a sense of right and wrong kind of thing.
So he's not the tallest midget, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, Alika, how would you go about it?
I wouldn't do one leader. I would do actually 3 leaders, just so they could, whatever issues came up, they could, vote on whatever decision they wanted to do. That way, as your group got bigger, people would not say, oh, this guy is getting drunk off of power. The more people he has under his wing, there's 3 people in there trying to decide to make our lives better and whatnot.
Yeah, but then the only problem with that is you've got people my problem with that, and it's great to have a sounding board or a, trustees kind of thing or something like that, but ultimately when it hits the fan, one person needs to be able to make on the fly decision, and this is what we're doing, this is what we're going for, and then that one person needs to be ultimately held responsible for the successes or the failure, because ultimately when it's sucking, people want somebody to blame, and it can't be 3 people and they share the blame equally. It's people want to blame one person. Just like when the government's failing and everything, yada, 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 y'all go, oh, it's the fucking president. Like people want to blame one person. So the 3-person thing, I don't think it. I mean, I don't know.
I would give it a try, and if it didn't work, the biggest guy of the 3 would probably be
Shoots the other 2, and it's good to go anyway.
This isn't working out.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I think just people will start getting more concerned if one guy is the shot caller as time goes on. They might follow him for a short period of time, but day in, day out, people are going to start getting tired of whatever policies he's making up or she's making up, or, I don't want to go on a supply run today. He keeps putting me on a supply run, so, screw this guy or whatever. Overall, I just don't think it's going to work with one person calling the shots.
Well, how does the Justice League do it anyways? Is it just one person that heads up the Justice League? Or do they have multiple people running that?
I don't follow DC.
Nothing. I've got nothing. Okay. Let's go to the next question then.
Hey,
I didn't even know what you're talking about. I was just going to stay silent because I was like, what is she talking about? Is this political or what? Banana politics.
I'll give you my answer. Hey, did we lose somebody?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
We probably lost somebody.
Yeah, G. Michael's dialing back in right now.
Cool.
And it wasn't me. I didn't kick him off. Really, I didn't. I'm going to say that before he gets back.
I had enough of this. I'm kicking him off. That's funny. Well, anyway, say your piece, JD.
So, yeah.
Here's what I would do. I don't see the point in appointing only one leader over everything. Because there's just too much to oversee. You're going to need people overseeing security. You're going to need people, over food. You're going to need people over education, bartering. You're going to have to have several little independent systems working. And I think you just put one person as long as you have enough people, you put one person in charge of each system and see how they do. If it's, if you have a threat to your security, the security guy calls the shots. If you have a threat to your food systems, the food guy should be able to decide. That's the way I see it. Like you divide the responsibility, and whatever decision needs to be made, if it falls onto that person makes the decision, because then power is spread evenly, decision making is spread evenly, and try to go that route and see what happens.
But can you bring each of those together then? And now you've got a council, so you've got a group again. And you think do you think a group of people like that would be able to work together to make a important decision? And how long would it take to make that decision? If it's a shit hit the fan situation and they need a decision now, how long is it going to take you to bring all those people together?
No, but that's the thing. It depends on the decision. What is this decision about? If the decision falls into the category of somebody who's over that department in the group, that person makes the decision.
But what if it's a get out of Dodge fast kind of a situation? We need to decide. So each division has to decide if they're ready to go. Or is it a family head that comes together and votes on that? Would it be possible to have multiple groups that come together for different situations? So if it's we need to move, relocate, something like that, it would be whoever each family votes in versus the running of the thing itself, which would have its own department head.
Well, you're talking about inside a camp, or are you talking about getting to bug out location, or?
Well, two different things. If you need to get away fast, or relocate or something like that.
Well, if you need to get away, like for example, if you need to get away fast and the guy who's in charge of security says, no, stay in your ground, you're staying, and you're like, no, I'm going to get my family and I'm going to get out of here, I'm not going to take a chance. And the guy says, nope, you stay here, get your weapon, we're going to fight these people off.
See, I'm kind of agreeing with Desert Hawk in the chat room. You need to have one person for a quick response, and then go more to a republic where where someone oversees each division.
Yeah, that's what I think. You know, if the guy in charge of security, if the decision has to do with security, and it's a quick decision, the guy takes care of it. And I think you can only plan so far, because you can agree to something, and then when it's happening, you find the person is not a fit for that role, or maybe that person dies or something, and it's now who you're going to replace. You know, how you're going to replace that person, that key person. So by dividing the responsibilities into smaller chunks, you can kind of put one person on top of a different set of responsibilities, I think. Did we beat this horse to death? Should we move on?
Yeah, probably should move on. I have a less in-depth one that I did, if you guys want to take a crack at whether Fido should live or not.
You have a what?
I wrote one about the dog. Wait, you want to hear about the dog?
You have a scenario about a dog?
About a dog.
Okay, this is not in the second deck of conflict.
This is not in the second deck.
Folks.
This is from Chris's brain. Alright, you ready? Alright, so it's
yeah.
When the world fell apart, you brought along your family dog, right? Lots of people can do that. The dog is adept at hunting, alerting you of danger, and a constant companion. Now your dog has been injured and you have no way to care for him, and I'm not going to go into details of why, just you can't, okay? You can either put your dog down, put him out of his misery, or you can leave him and let nature take its course. How do you handle that scenario? Do you put a bullet in his head, or do you just leave him?
I'm a salty dog. We're going to have a barbecue.
You're going to have a barbecue? You're going to turn it into a hot dog?
Yeah, man. And, you know, Mark, my business partner, has this massive dog. That dog is going to go into the grill, man, when it happens.
That's so messed up. What if he's been like a family dog for like 10 years or something?
Well, what are you going to do? You going to waste food? You know?
He's going to end up being stringy.
He's going to be pretty stringy, yeah.
I'll eat the meat and then I'll make a hat or something out of his fur. I don't know.
Just to keep a little memento.
Yeah.
That's funny. What about you, Link? Are you going to eat Fido?
Yeah, I'll definitely put my poor dog out of its misery, but then my next goal would be how would I cook him up? If the dog's not sick from eating a poisonous leaf or something, it just, say his leg broke or whatever, why waste good meat? It will be a little stringy, but cook them up.
Salty says eat them with tears.
It's the best tenderizer, Salty.
Salty tears. Oh, that's funny. Lori, what do you think? You gonna eat your dog after you take him out back and shoot him?
No, I would not. I could not do that. At this point after today, I'd probably be easier to chop up a spouse or something like that and charbroil him over the open fire.
You're gonna have chicken fried Eddie.
Little Puerto Rican, throw some rice in there. We got a whole meal.
Little jumbo. Or gumbo. That's funny.
But no, I've had Dixon since he was a puppy, and I'd be hard pressed to, I learned him medical stuff, so that way, if a scenario like that, if he would break his leg or something like that, be able to fix him up. Do not think that I could go that route at all.
That's funny. I was thinking it depends on the dog, because one dog I would just let nature take its course, and but my other dog, she's a little princess, and I just have to cuddle her to death, literally cuddle her to death. But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think I could have dog tacos, as somebody said. I think that's a little intense for me.
Well, we have to keep our humanity, and I think we lost G. Michael somewhere, and I don't know how to get him back on here. Unless I completely dial us out and dial us back in.
Yeah, I think he's given up, so it's life. Maybe we'll cook him over the fire next time.
He's been voted off the island.
Barbecue him up next time. Oh, that's funny. Well, that was a quick and easy one. Do you have some more, JD? I think we got probably one more. Less political.
I got lots and lots more. And
well,
are we going to do
oh yeah, we never did a thing.
A trivia question, or
yeah, we never did that. I mean,
what's going on with trivia?
we could do one. Let me
Let's do a dog related trivia.
There you go. Dog related trivia. Okay. Let's see. I got one. How do you correctly, wait for it, spell dachshund?
Like the dog? Like the wiener dog?
Like the wiener dog. How do you spell it? First one to spell it wins.
Is it spelled like the car?
No, I don't know. I don't even know. I was just assuming that somebody knew. Somebody's gonna Google it, right? Oscar Mayer, hot dog. Smoked hound.
Now, we're talking about eating pets. So when I was growing up, we had goats, and we had goats for milk more than anything. But we had a pet goat, and it came up missing one time. And I grew up, I was a little kid, so this was a pet goat that we had, and came up missing. Found out later that we taste like chicken. He was stringy, sitting there eating. No, I take that back. We were sitting there and we were eating, and it tastes like a beef roast. And my dad asked me, I remember, how's that taste? And it's like, tastes a little stringy. And lo and behold, he tells us later it was our pet goat that we had. G. Michael, did you get back on?
Mm-mm.
I think you need to add him, Laurie.
I've tried. And
only one person tried to guess the dog name, and he was wrong. What a bummer.
I went to an Indian restaurant this week, and I had goat, and it was great.
Yeah, it's not bad. It tastes just like beef, but just stringier.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people around here taste like, or raised meat goats.
Who eats goats?
So did anybody win the dog trivia?
Yeah, nobody even tried. One person tried and got it wrong. Nobody cared about.
Scroll down. There are more answers.
There's no more answers, is there?
No, there isn't.
Well, I was looking for like how to the best recipe for cooking a dog or something.
Yeah, big bullets. He guessed like 6 times. He's right. Man, I totally missed that.
So what does Big Bullets win? And how does he get that?
An ebook, and you can email me this time so that it gets to me at Chris, CHRIS, at series.com. So, Big Bullets, email me. I'll put my stuff in there too.
Very awesome book. And let me ask you, Chris, are you working on the next one, or what's the
Yeah,
status?
so I've kind of, after talking to G. Michael today, I've kind of rethought my whole thing, and I'm actually going to do a rewrite of book 1 and a rebranding, so to speak, and then I'm going to release 1, 2, and 3 under a different name. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but it's going to kind of slow me down and piss a leak off, but, you know, that's life. So yeah, but yeah, I am working on a third one. It'll probably be a little while, so.
Nice.
It's not going to be a 6-month turnaround like the first two, so.
That's cool.
Yes,
And
sir.
Laurie, are you working on anything new?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing a damn thing. I'm gonna lay around the house naked and
Banana.
build ARs and stuff.
Banana. Can you even build ARs naked? I feel like you might get something snipped.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Oh.
No issues there. But yeah, after I saute my husband.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like if you're building heavy guns and machinery in the nude, like, it's just, you're bound to get something snipped or clipped in places you don't want to be snipped or clipped.
Yeah, well, after today, I might be on the lookout for a new husband, so who knows, you know?
You're always on the lookout for a new husband. How long have you been saying that?
Well, at least 16 years.
Too long. Must be a hard search in Indiana or wherever you're at. Everybody's too cold. Nobody leaves their house.
Stay away from New Yorkers. They're not worth your
It's
time.
like Minnesota. You gotta climb out the top story window to get out. Then you might as well just stay at home. You only look in summer. By then they're all gone.
Hey, Salty's calling banana.
Salty's gone. Banana.
Actually, no, Lady Pitbull and I are going to get together and maybe grab some other females since I didn't get to say a whole lot on Primer Time today, and talk about females and the differences that we have to endure when it comes to firearms. Seems like my husband pretty much took over the show, him and his social butterfly habits. So we definitely need to get the word out there about
That's why
girls.
he's in the Wiener Dog house tonight.
That is so why.
That's funny. That's
And
good.
Alik, what's new with you and the SHTF ready? SHTFready.com forums.
He forgot me to look it up.
No, because my wife is messaging me here.
I'm
And I
dropping
had to
G.
read it.
Michael's link to his website in here too because I can't somehow get him back in there onto the radio show, which means we're going to have him back again.
Got bananaed off the island.
Absolutely.
But just go to www.gmichaelhopf.com.
It's more like hop.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. But he's got some great books out there, and he's a very talented writer, and he writes some very realistic scenarios out there that could come to play in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And he's killing it, so there's definitely something to be said about that. that I can't say for sure, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, we gotta do a shameless plug on that. Alika and I are still working on our little thing, and by Alika and I really mean Alika because I haven't touched it, but me and him are gonna get our little novella thing out here probably, I would say, pretty quick, so.
And
We'll
then
keep shamelessly plugging that away until it's actually a finished product, and then we'll link it.
awesome. And then JD, you've got a new deck of cards coming out in 3 days.
Yes, in 3 days, people can go to our website and order deck number 2, where you'll see some more crazy scenarios for you to discuss with your friends and family, and also scenarios from the community. So you can kind of see what people are thinking, because sometimes you can only prepare for what you know, and this is a great way to kind of expanding your horizons, and perhaps you find something on the cards that you didn't think that you didn't think of, and you can prepare for that and make sure your bases are covered.
So I have a question, JD. When are you going to do more than 52 cards? Because I feel like it's not enough.
Well,
we need like expansion packs and stuff, like Magic or something. I'm not the only one who knows what Magic is.
No,
I love Magic, man.
Okay.
Mavericks here.
That nerd flag fly.
I know. I was like, oh god, I just told everyone. It's funny. Yeah, but seriously, like, you gotta do like little booster packs and stuff. That's the way to do it.
Well, here's the thing that I'm gonna tell you. I was gonna wait for Michael, but I'm not gonna wait because, I have a feeling he doesn't want me to wait. We're actually gonna be working with Michael to turn his book series into a conflicted game. So, his characters, his books, they go through a bunch of crazy scenarios and tough decisions that happen in his world of his book, and we're going to turn that into a game, so it's going to add another dimension of, if you're a fan of his, if you read his book, you kind of be able to spread the word. And
that's going to be intense because
I feel jealous too. Just going to say that, just a little jelly.
You got to re-release your book, man.
Okay, all right. I got you. Rename all my characters and make it not the same at all, then we can do that.
But we can, after you re-release your book,
Alika.
And Alika's in there, then we got to do it. Then
there you go.
Me in there too in your book, so
I'll make him the main character. There you go.
That should be interesting, because his books are intense. So taking that and flipping it into a conflicted game, that should be quite interesting. I'd like to see how that plays out.
No, it'll be awesome. I'm really excited. And
what kind of time frame are you talking about?
We're gonna release it in May.
In May? Awesome.
And I'm very pumped.
Well, we're at the end of today's show. I'll see you guys in 7.
Cool.
See you guys later. Take care.
Next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.